Look at the modern snack aisle. Neon bags, cartoon mascots, and a list of ingredients you can't even pronounce. In 1973, a family of 5 lived on 99-cent ground beef, but biologically, they were built with a resilience we have almost completely lost. They call it poor man's food. But Vaxalis reveals it was the last era of metabolic integrity. Before the snack industry spent billions to replace your kitchen with a plastic bag, mothers used a flavor chemistry that modern labs still can't replicate. This wasn't desperation. It was a survival protocol for the human microbiome. One of these snacks was so nutrient-dense, it's now sold as a premium health food for 4 times the price. Hit that subscribe button. Let's count down the 10 forgotten 70s snacks that the industry wanted you to outgrow. 1. Velveeta on Ritz, the texture, chemistry event. This is more than a snack. It's a textural event. You arrange the crackers, place a thin slice of Velveeta on each, and put them under the broiler for exactly 60 seconds. Modern snack companies have spent 50 years trying to replicate this fusion in a bag, and they have failed. Why? Because you cannot engineer the moment where the cheese blisters and fuses with the cracker. Velveeta melts at a lower temperature than real cheese, creating a velvet interior that satisfies the brain's fat-seeking neurons instantly. It provided a level of satiety that today's air-puffed snacks can't touch, all for just pennies a tray. 2. Sardines on crackers, the original brain hack. At 39 cents a tin in 1975, this was the ultimate cognitive biohack. Sardines are a rare source of whole food DHA, EPA, and calcium because you eat the softened bones. This is nose to tail, eating for the working class. While modern diners might flinch at the assertive flavor, this snack was providing the essential fats needed for neuroprotection and heart health. The people who grew up on this didn't think of it as poor people food. They thought of it as correct nutrition. By modern standards, it is embarrassingly healthy compared to any protein bar on the shelf today. 3. Government peanut butter. The non-emulsified truth. If you received commodity food in the 70s, you got it in a massive silver can labeled simply peanut butter. Unlike modern brands padded with sugar and inflammatory palm oil, this was dense, pure, and intensely peanut-flavored. It's separated into oil and solids, requiring the stirring ritual. Today, this exact natural version is sold as a premium health product. In 1973, it was a government staple that built a generation of children with stable energy levels and actual muscle, not sugar-induced inflammation. 4. Fried Bologna cups, the Maillard satiety protocol. At 89 cents a pound, Bologna was the great equalizer. But the magic happened in the dry skillet. As the slice buckled into a cup, it underwent the Maillard reaction. This isn't just browning. It's a complex chemical reaction between amino acids and reducing sugars that creates hundreds of new flavor compounds. This reaction signals to your brain that a high-density protein source is being consumed, triggering deep satiety signals that prevent overeating later. Children ate these straight out of the pan, burning their fingers, but more importantly, filling their bellies with bioavailable amino acids that sustained them until dinner. 5. Ants on a log. The glycemic blunting duo. Celery, peanut butter, and raisins. This was a masterclass in glycemic control. The strings of the celery are pure, insoluble fiber. When combined with the high fats of the peanut butter, they create a buffer in the small intestine. This buffer slows the absorption of the sugars from the raisins, preventing the massive insulin spike that leads to fat storage and brain fog. School nurses recommended this in 1971 because it kept kids' blood sugar stable during homework, proving that the simplest pantry ingredients can be a biological powerhouse. 6. Tomato sandwiches, the Lycopene shield. In the summer of 1974, this cost about 6 cents. But there was one rule. The tomato had to be real, thick-walled and warm from the sun. Garden-fresh tomatoes are a concentrated source of lycopene, a vascular protective antioxidant. When paired with the fats in real mayonnaise, the bioavailability of that lycopene is maximized. We traded these garden-grown nutrients for convenient supermarket tomatoes that have the nutritional profile of cardboard. Standing over the sink to eat a tomato sandwich wasn't just a 70s memory, it was a seasonal infusion of metabolic vitality. 7. Pot-popped popcorn, the Anti-PFOA protocol. Before the 1980s microwave revolution, popcorn required a heavy pot and real butter. This wasn't just a choice, it was a health protocol. Modern microwave popcorn bags are often lined with PFOAs, perfluorooctanoic acid, forever chemicals that have been linked to hormonal disruption and metabolic damage. By popping corn in a pot with real fats, the 1970s family was eating a high-fiber whole grain without the toxic chemical exposure. The variation in the butter coating, some kernels heavy, some barely touched, is what the brain craves to prevent sensory-specific satiety, keeping the family engaged and satisfied without the need for artificial flavorings. 8. Vienna sausages, the nose-to-tail fallback. At 29 cents a can, these 7 small sausages were a pantry staple. While modern nutritionists might scoff, these were a form of upcycled protein. They used the parts of the animal that provided the most collagen and mineral density, parts we now throw away. Drinking the brine from the can, as many 70s kids did, was an accidental hit of electrolytes. It was the fallback meal that ensured a child had protein and salt during the latchkey hours, providing the stability needed to wait for payday. 9. Cinnamon sugar toast, the insulin buffer. Buttered bread, sugar, and cinnamon under the broiler. Vaxalis science reveals a hidden hack here. The real butter acts as a gastric slowing agent. By coating the sugar in fat, you slow down its entry into the bloodstream. Furthermore, cinnamon is known to improve insulin sensitivity. For just 4 cents, a 70s mother was providing a treat that was metabolically safer than the low-fat fruit snacks marketed to parents today. 10. Sugarbread, the rapid glycogen restoration. White bread, margarine, and sugar. While parents today would look at this with horror, it was a masterclass in rapid glycogen restoration. For a working-class kid who spent 4 hours playing outside, this was an immediate hit of energy that their active bodies burned instantly. They didn't have a metabolic crisis because they were actually moving. It was honest, fast, and provided the dignity of a full belly for less than a nickel, proving that sometimes survival is the smartest biohack of all. The snack industry didn't replace these foods because they were bad for you. They replaced them because they couldn't profit from them. You can't put a 30-second Bologna cup in a box and sell it for $4. They sold you the idea that packaged was modern, and in doing so, they made you forget how to feed yourself with honesty and grit. My challenge to you: try the Velveeta on Ritz for 60 seconds. Make the popcorn in a pot. Reclaim the metabolic dignity of the 1970s. Which of these poor man snacks was a staple in your house? Let me know in the comments if you still dream about the flavor of the Red Devil ham. At Vaxalis, we believe your kitchen is the ultimate lab. Thanks for watching.